All right, take two. I recorded this once and they told me it was too long, so I'll try this again and cut it down a little bit. Some of you have asked that I open up weeks sooner, so I'm going to try to do that. I want to just briefly update you. Some of you may be aware of this. The Boy Scouts delayed their vote on whether or not to allow gays into their organization, into their membership, into their leadership. Part of it can be that, public opinion kind of made them step back and take a look at the issue in more detail. They're going to look to vote again in May. So again, you can see how public opinion may impact various organizations. Discussion questions on the Muslim scarf and the tattoos, as you see, are dealing with policies. We'll talk more about policies later in the semester, but I hope you realize how important policies can be and how they can impact an organization greatly. I hope to have your final grades posted soon on the discussion question dealing with the Muslim scarf. And just to address that a little bit, I wanted to bring up some points that some of you made during your discussions. You did a really good job on this, and there really isn't a right or wrong answer. You just have to, if you disagree, some of you disagree, and you have to support your answer with some, rational thinking and maybe some facts or some other issues. Some of you talked about having an alternative dress to be able to accommodate you. Many of you pointed out the uniformity of a police officer's uniform, and you think about police officers' uniforms, you think about fire personnel, EMTs, they all have, standard kind of uniforms that we identify them by, and you thought that was very important. Some of you did some extra research and pointed out that the police chief who did agree with the judge's decision was also Muslim. Many of you brought up the question, why did you wait 8 years? I think that's kind of an important thing to consider. But sometimes many people, as they get older, or sometimes a life event will change your opinion about something. So we don't know the total picture as to why she waited 8 years, but it is a very important issue to consider. Some of you mentioned that sometimes if you want to bring about change in an organization, you have to take a risk. For example, her wearing the kamar to work and being sent home, but maybe she was trying to make a statement, but maybe this wasn't exactly the right way to go about making that statement. Others of you mentioned acknowledging the dress code yearly, which I think was a good idea for organizations to go back and revisit what the dress code says, because as we know, sometimes people, things change over time. So you need to go back and acknowledge it, address it, maybe revise it yearly. One question that was prompted by something I read is, and somebody brought this up, is could religious exemptions cause other officers to seek other type of exemptions? For example, what if, one or two officers wanted to wear red shoes? I mean, where does it end? So you have to kind of think about those things as well. So enough said on that. Again, a good job, and keep up the good work on your discussion boards. So the Chapter 5, volunteerism, we know that a lot of organizations rely on volunteers, especially if they had to deal with, budget cutbacks. They use volunteers in place of paid staff. Many of you have probably volunteered for churches, schools, different types of organizations. Some of you may remember last summer the World Choir Games. The organizers were able to register 4,600 volunteers who donated more than 100,000 hours of time. Now think about how critical these volunteers were for the event. 100,000 plus hours of volunteer work. Even if you pay that at a minimum wage, that's quite a dollar figure to have to think about paying for. So you can think how critical these volunteers were. I mean, maybe some of you have heard the results afterwards that this was probably one of the greatest events the city has, put on, that the organizers, the promoters were very pleased with the city of Cincinnati. So it's very important to get the right volunteers in place at the right time. So you can see how important volunteers are, and I would hope you have volunteered at some point. In fact, the assignment I'm asking you to do this week is to write about a volunteer experience and to look at that in more detail. And if you haven't volunteered, I'd hope you'll give it a try and to see what what the kind of the benefits you gain for it. Not only is an organization benefiting from your time and effort, but I think you'll find that the experience will be beneficial to you as well. So that's about all I have to say about volunteerism. I think it's going to be an easy read. Go through the PowerPoint slides and see some of the things that talk about, the benefits, the rewards, so on and so forth. As always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to contact me. We're coming up, I can't believe it's week 5 already, so most of you are staying on top of things, which is great. Just continue to do so. The work lessons, after we get through the first half of the semester. So keep up the good work and take care. Have a great day.